Hello, welcome to the Simplified Loader Purchase Order Receipts app for mobile run-through. In this video, we will look at the features available in the app. You can download the Purchase Orders Receipts app for Android or iOS from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Our app will work either on your phone or your tablet. The Simplified Loader Purchase Order Receipt app is used to receive goods or services in Oracle Fusion. The app provides you with a user-friendly layout and comes in handy for project managers and purchasing users. In fact, any role that requires working with Oracle Fusion. It solves the problem of people with busy schedules who don't have access to their desktop computers at certain times. In this run-through, we will see how the user can receive goods or quantity on the go using their mobile device. Okay, let's start. First, we need to launch the app. Each time you start the app, you will be presented with the login screen. When you open the application for the first time, you won't see any environments listed in the login screen. This is because the app has not been configured yet for your specific environment. So let's go ahead and configure this now. We only need to do this once as part of the setup of the installation. To configure the available environments, we can navigate to the Settings screen and click the Gear Configuration icon in the top right of the login page. You will see the 4 sections needed to configure an environment: Field Setup, Connection Setup, Environment Details, and Template Setup. We will learn about Field Setup later, but first let us look at the Connection Setup option. To configure an environment for the app, we will need to provide a connection URL, company code, and passcode. This information is usually provided to you by your support administrator. When you configure a valid connection, we will see that the template section will automatically be populated. Okay, let's enter a connection URL along with the company code. By the way, the company code is case sensitive. Now we can click on the Get Details button. This will prompt us for the passcode. Just enter the passcode and the environment, and the template details will be configured. The details in the environment section are used on the application login screen. You need at least one or more environments to be able to use the Simplified Loader Purchase Order Receipts mobile application. The template setup section cannot be changed, and this is just for information purposes only. Let's take a look at the Field Setup section. Here we find all the fields that are displayed when performing receipt activity tasks. As you can see, we have the ability to check or uncheck each field. Checking a specific field means that field will be shown on the results page, whilst unchecking a field means it won't be shown, it will be hidden. This level of customization of fields allows you to show only the fields that you wish to show. We can also change the field display order by dragging the field to a new position, either before or after another field. Once these changes here have been made, the results page will start using these new settings. Let's now jump back to the login screen. Now we can see our user has all the applicable environments that belong to their organization. Okay, now we can select the environment that we wish to log into. Selecting an environment will display the environment login page. Start by entering the Fusion ERP username in the username field. The user has 2 choices to log in. The first is using SSO, or otherwise known as single sign-on, or the second is non-SSO, a conventional login that most people are familiar with. For this run-through, we will use a single sign-on login. When you log in using the SSO method, you will be presented with a web page where you will be able to log into your Fusion application. One thing to note in this case is that we just see the standard Fusion login screen because our setup does not have single sign-on fully configured. If SSO was fully configured for our environment, then we would see a personalized SSO login page applicable for our company. Let's enter our login credentials in the Fusion single sign-on login page and click Submit. Here we can see that our user has 2 options. Option 1, to review and receive open purchase orders, or Option 2, to return a purchase order. Okay, we'll choose Receive My Open POs. This action takes us to a summary page where we can review and action each of the open purchase orders. Do you remember earlier about configuring the field settings? Well, this is where the field configuration comes into effect. All of the data we see in this table is based on the field display settings. So just to recap, if we want to hide specific fields or add new fields or order the fields, we can do this from the Fields setting area. The results page has a Search Anything field present. This field allows a user to search for absolutely anything. For example, you can search data by supplier name, PO number, requisition number, project number, etc. When you use this search functionality, the table rows automatically filter the records that contain the search criteria that you specified. To demonstrate this, let's search for the supplier name Lee Supplies. Just typing Lee has filtered the relevant records in the table. Similarly, if we search for the purchase order number 162541, we will get all the purchase order lines for receiving for that purchase order. If there are any values in the table that exceed the cell length, you can tap on the value and examine the full string or value in the pop-up box. Let's now select a purchase order for receiving. For this, we can use the purchase order number 163200. The Simplified Loader Purchase Order Receipts app pre-populates the unreceived quantity or amount in the table. In case a user wants to receive the entire unreceived amount, they would need to check the row that they wish to receive. In the scenario where the user wants to receive a partial amount, then this can be done by changing the quantity or amount directly in the table. Let's receive the complete $540, and on the next row we will receive a partial $100 out of the total $1,080. Finally, in the next row, instead of receiving the amount, we will enter a quantity. Once we are satisfied with our inputs, we just need to click on the Submit button to start the receiving activity to the Fusion application. When you press the Submit button, it will only submit records that are selected for processing. Clicking the Submit button will give us the option to select the transaction receiving date. This brings us on to one of the most helpful features of the Simplified Loader Purchase Order Receipts app. Often in an organization, it is a challenge to maintain correct receipting quantity before the month end, and as a result, the finance personnel ends up entering accrual journals in the general ledger. With the Simplified Loader Purchase Order Receipts app, the purchasing user has the option to record the right amount in the correct period before the general ledger period close. By simply entering a past transaction date, the user ends up with the correct date for a transaction in the accounting period it was intended for. This happens seamlessly and with no involvement from the company's finance team. After we select the dates, the transaction has a validation check before the record is fully committed. When validating a record, it will either be accepted or rejected by the Fusion application. When a particular validation error occurs, you will see a validation error. In the case here, we can see that the user gets 2 successful responses and 1 failure. So there we have it. You have just seen how easy it is to set up and work with the Simplified Loader Purchase Order Receipts mobile app. We hope you have enjoyed this run-through. If you have any questions or feedback, then please feel free to drop us an email at support@simplifiedloader.com. Thank you.